This broadcast is for Damar Hamlin, safety for the Buffalo Bills, who took a hit last night and wound up collapsing on the field. He is in critical condition, but he is stabilized. His vitals have returned to normal. So we are doing this for him. And during the second half of today's show, I will post his GoFundMe link so the love and the support can keep coming in. This is for him. We're going to have our same energy, and we're going to keep him in our prayers for a full recovery. Let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning, Kevin Durant. You should have never left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Good morning. Welcome to the Taco Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. We are so happy to have y'all with us. Cole Johnson will be along in just a few moments. And as I mentioned before we started the program, during hour 2, I will get the link for Damar Hamlin's charity, and I will post it as well as mine throughout the hour. If you want to support us, you can do so 2 different ways. At the top of your screen, for those of you watching, is our Patreon link. We would love for you to do that and join us monthly for as low as $5 a month. And at the bottom, if you want to contribute to the show, you can do so via Cash App for both myself and for Cole Johnson and for whomever is a contributor. And we can really get this thing popping. It's 2023. Happy New Year to y'all. And man, Damar Hamlin almost dying on the field on Monday, which caused the game to be postponed. And an immediate question for those of you that are checking us out in the chat: should the game be postponed or canceled? There was a lot, and I mean a lot, of emotion. Excuse me. There was a lot of emotion from fans and pundits alike, going back and forth on whether the game should be postponed or whether the game should be canceled. I don't know either way. I don't know either way because the game is an absolutely huge game. It's absolutely huge. But what's bigger than that right now is the life and safety and the health of one Damar Hamlin. As many of you saw last night, he took a hit from T. Higgins on a 13-yard gain. He got up immediately, but then collapsed. Cardiac arrest was the diagnosis. And it took a perfect hit to the chest from T. Higgins. And you got to understand, these are 2 competitors. And it just happened to be that hit that took down Damar Hamlin. And that's the backdrop for everything today. That is the backdrop. And to DeMar and his family, are we ever praying for you to pull through this? We are, and as updates come in, when we get them, we will pass them along. And for those of you tuning in on the SDM Sports Radio Network, there is a broadcast tonight, beginning at 7:15. 7:15. And if any updates on DeMar Hamlin come in, we will pass them along throughout the course of tonight, and we'll pass them along throughout the course of this show, and as well as my show this afternoon, the Brian Snow Show. Cardiac arrest. Thank you, Sick Diggy. Cardiac arrest is no joke. There have been plenty of incidents like this in professional soccer for the past couple of decades. Oh, yeah. The name that comes to mind for me in seeing this is Hank Gathers. Y'all remember what happened. Terenzo Jones, welcome to Snowman Multimedia, the Snowman Multimedia YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, and share it, because it is our goal this month on this channel to finally, after 4 years of struggling, get monetized. So, Sick, if you can remind people of that would be so much appreciated. Torrento Jones says, Grand Rising, and it's sad people were mad the game was postponed. Yeah, it was sad to see people that emotional for wanting to see a football game. Somebody almost died. Somebody almost died. Okay? Think, people. Life before football. And DeMar Hamlin's life is hanging in the balance. It's hanging in the balance. I'll touch Skip Bayless during hour 2. Smitty753, welcome. It's scary and sad. I'd seen them play for Pittsburgh Central Catholic when they faced my high school. Dude was a star in the Pittsburgh area and contribute to his community. Praying for him. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. How can anyone be upset that the game was postponed? A man's life is at stake here. Damn straight. Damn straight. A man's life is at risk, is in danger, could end at any moment, because as Sick Diggy said, cardiac arrest is no joke. I was almost there earlier this year. Okay? I was almost there. I was almost there last year when I had the blood clots in my lungs. And yet people still wanted to see a football game? No, man. You want to know why it took so long for them to make a decision to postpone? Well, I really don't have a clear thought about why it took them so long. I don't have a clear answer on that. But they did make the decision to postpone the game. Now, if it will be played in its entirety, we have no word on that yet. As I said, any word that comes down, we will pass it along to you. Sick Diggy says, here's my question. How thorough are sports medical teams when it comes to screening athletes for potential predispositions? That is a fantastic question. And besides DeMar Hamlin, the example I have in mind is Tua Tagovailoa. 3 concussions in 14 weeks. 3. How thorough, I'll leave this question up for a minute. How thorough are sports teams when it comes to screening athletes for potential predispositions? And when do they catch them? When do they catch them? When do they alert the coaches as well as the athlete that has that predisposition? You know, Victor has an answer. Just scrap the game. This is an extreme situation. And you know something? After thinking about it for a few moments, Victor, I agree. Nothing should. Let me say that again. Nothing should come before a man's safety, before an athlete's safety. Bitter Truth Show, wake up and go to sleep. Yeah, that's what people are doing with this stupid reaction of getting pissed that a game was postponed. Do y'all know? I'll say it again. Do y'all know that a man's life is in danger? Yes, it comes with playing a gladiator sport. Yes, it does come with that. But at the same time, many have had great careers. But then the CTE thing started happening, and there's more of that going on. Bitter Truth has an answer. Oh, very informative about your medical condition, but they push you into playing with it. Thank you, Bitter Truth. So, Tua is a prime example. Tua is a prime example. I hit the wrong button, and it's why Megatron retired. It's absolutely why Megatron retired. Ryan McCarthy. Good morning, everyone. Prayers up for Damar Hamlin. Absolutely. This first segment is all about him. Also, heart conditions like Hamlin's are difficult to detect. True. An interview with an accomplished cardiologist would be very helpful. Yeah. And it's got to be independent of the team. Just like with the concussions, it's got to be independent of the team. Because if it's with the team, they're going to push the athlete to play through it. Hey, why'd you push that button? Doggone it. Quit pushing buttons. No, I'm kidding. Cole Johnson now joins me. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, man.
What the hell is up with people getting mad that a game was postponed? It should be scrapped altogether because someone almost died last night.
You know, there's certain things that just are more important.
Yep.
Certain things just more important. And you know, when I first saw, because I had went to bed basically when I knew the game was going to be probably in the second quarter around the halftime point, because you know I had to get up and go to work early.
Yeah.
So I checked the phone. I see the score. I see it's 7-3 Bengals. It's like, okay, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good get. And I see the word delayed. Now it wasn't postponed yet. It was still about another 30 minutes away from being postponed. But
yeah, and I'm glad they took the time to analyze everything.
I am too.
I'm glad they took the time to analyze everything. Bitter Truth Show in the house with us. Hamlin's injury was a freak accident. He got hit the wrong way. Yep.
To your point, Bitter Truth, they diagnosed it as blunt force trauma. You know, like the things you normally suffer from when you have accidents in cars.
Yes.
And basically, they're medical professionals are saying that the hit Hamlin took was blunt force trauma, which I totally understand. Just judging by the way
you played the sport,
reacted. Yeah, totally.
You played the sport. You played on the offensive line. So you want to talk about blunt force trauma?
Yeah,
there you go.
And it gets no more physical than there. And I'm not saying it because I played it. I'm just saying that it's just the truth. But yeah, I checked to see why it was delayed because I was thinking it was a weather thing. I was like, okay, so it must have been lightning in the area, right? So then when I go further into the research, I see, wait a minute. So there was a player that, there's a player that actually had CPR administered to him?
Yep, twice.
And so of course I scurried and went further. I wanted to see what happened, and then I saw the play where Damar Hamlin, who had perfect technique, tackled T. Higgins, and the way Higgins hit him, I can see why the blunt force trauma happened when he took the hit. And so they go to the ground, and then Hamlin, being the lifelong lover of football that he is, and being the football player in nature that he is, he got up. He figured, okay, yeah, that probably was a nasty hit. I'll just shake it off. And when he tried to shake it off, he fell straight back down. And when I saw him fall the way he fell, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And I was talking with some friends of mine. Now I know when I mention the name, I know you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about when I say it. Because I was 16 and you were 17 when this happened.
Hank Gathers.
Exactly.
Hank Gathers.
The moment I saw
went up
when he
for a dunk with
Mhm.
Loyola Marymount and
Yeah,
then
completed
collapsed.
the dunk. Yeah, completed the dunk. Then he was about to run to play defense, and all of a sudden, pow, just collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I remember then having that cold feeling of, I just want that. I just want that guy to be all right.
Yeah.
That was the only thought I
Never
had
mind
then.
playing football again.
Yeah,
Playing football again. I
yeah,
want him to be safe, and I want him to be
right.
okay.
And that's exactly how I feel about DeMar Hamlin. I just want him to
Yeah.
be okay. If he plays football again, even better. But
Terrific.
I just
Mhm.
want him to survive this, be well, and actually enjoy the rest of his life, because this young man was doing something that he loved,
Mhm.
and to have something unfortunate like that happen to him, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen to him, and I don't want the pain of having him possibly passing be visited on his family, because they don't deserve it, and neither does he.
No, they don't. Ryan McCarthy, this should not be on T. Higgins' shoulders.
Oh,
That
no,
guy is going through
no.
enough since he was involved in the play. That could, and I pray for his mental state. I do also, because
100%, man.
there are some crazy people out there with keyboards that will start to blame T. Higgins.
And yeah, and
It was a textbook
yes.
fair play.
Yeah. I mean,
There
what
was nothing um there was
no,
nothing malicious about it. I
no. I
mean,
mean,
Hamlin
what
was trying to make a tackle and Higgins was
yeah,
trying to get loose.
yeah, and uh, f again, and you mentioned it a few minutes ago, I have been on a football field.
Mhm.
I have, and I'm not even just talking about a game, I'm talking about practice. I have seen wide receivers coaches coach wide receivers, "Okay, if you're gonna take a hit, make the defender pay for it."
Right. I've seen it.
So,
I've
yeah,
covered football for 27 years.
yeah,
High school and college.
yeah,
That's what they teach.
make the defender pay for it. So if he wants to bring that drama, all right, fine. Lower that
Have
shoulder and
Let him have
drive
it.
through it. And
That's what
that's
T.
what T
Higgins
did.
did.
And I had and I mean, when I saw it, I didn't even have a thought about T. I was like, man, T was doing what he was supposed to do,
Yep.
and DeMar was doing what he was supposed to do. That was just an unfortunate circumstance.
Yep. That was just one of those kind of hits where you didn't expect it to happen
No.
and it happened. And we're not only are we praying for DeMar, we're praying for everybody that plays in
Yes.
the NFL, veterans
Yeah.
and rookies alike. And the
Yeah.
mental state of T. Higgins, I
Yeah.
really hope and pray that doesn't take a hit. I really hope that people are smart enough to realize
Mm-hmm.
that T. Higgins was doing
Zero.
what he was coached to do.
He has no culpability
He has
whatsoever in this. None.
no
None.
culpability in
None.
this.
None.
Bitter truth again. Just a typical routine tackle. It wasn't even vicious. He
No.
fell on top of Higgins. Those people are nuts. Yeah,
Exactly.
they are. They are nuts. Thank you.
Exactly, bitter truth. They are.
Thank you.
They are. They are. And you know, I mean, the moment I saw it, I was like, okay. And I actually said, I hope they postpone this game. I actually said that out loud. When
Mhm.
the moment I actually saw, because I think I saw it about 5 minutes after I read the game was delayed. I
Yeah.
mean, the moment I saw DeMar hit the turf, I said, man, I hope they postpone this game, because I can't. As a former player and as a person who appreciates the sport, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, I don't know if I am invested in one to see this game continue.
Right. You
And
can't after seeing that kind of
right,
hit, you can't be invested
right.
in it. You
And
can't.
yeah. So I'm watching.
The game can be made up. A life
Oh
cannot.
yeah, right, exactly. So
A game can be made up.
yeah,
A
so
life cannot.
right. So I'm covering it, and I'm feeling this way. I've been on the field, so
Mhm.
I know just with the play. I'm just talking about the players themselves. I know the other 105 players that suit up and get on
Yes.
the field felt the exact same feeling that I felt. I'm like,
Mhm.
man, the last thing they think about is a game. They're thinking about DeMar and they hope he's fine. And that's a brother in arms. Whether it's a Bill or a Bingle, that's a brother in arms.
Right.
Yeah. So no,
Right.
man. Yeah. And in the NFL, and later on this week, I'm going to call them out for
They
when
they
I
did.
don't think they value human life. They actually did here.
Mhm. they sent the players back to the locker room for a chance to regroup, and this is why it took a half hour after reading through and seeing everything that happened. It took a half hour to postpone the game.
Yeah.
You had to make sure the players are ready to get back into it, and they weren't ready to get back into it. So the NFL made the call and said, hell with it, postpone it.
Just postpone it. Yeah. And you could not have said it any better. You can make up a game. You can't make up life.
You can't make up a life. You can make up a game. I mean, hell, we saw it during the COVID season.
Yeah.
We saw it during the COVID season. Bit of truth. My TikTok is chock full of people blaming this on the COVID shot, saying that this has become an epidemic. Can you blame the COVID shot? See, all right. That's my only question about that, because if I go off on that tangent, that'll be 120 minutes down the tube.
Right.
We got a lot more to cover here this morning.
Definitely. And Sig, to answer your question, not well at all, brother.
Not well
at all. You basically have, when you put on shoulder pads, you basically have, how can I put this? You have like a sort of like padding maybe this thick that is covering here.
Yeah. And a perfect hit in that area.
Oh yeah, and if you hit perfectly,
to what happened last night.
Yeah, you hit that. You hit it perfectly right there. The blunt force trauma. There you go. So yeah, shoulder pads do not protect the sternum well at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah. Before we go to break, one more comment from the feedback zone. From what I understand, the coaches called the game. Buffalo equipment staff was packing up before they canceled. Yeah, hell yeah, they were.
Yeah, they let
hell yeah, they were. I saw it. Yeah, they were packing up and saying,
coaches led the way. Yeah. The coaches led the way.
The heck with this. Our brother's in the hospital.
Yeah, the coaches led the way in saying, okay, it's a wrap. We ain't going any further.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I'm proud that they made that call.
I am too. But
I'm proud that they made that call.
In both Sean McDermott and in Zach Taylor, they both made the right call.
They said no, ain't no way. Ain't no way. So I'm proud that both coaches made the call and the league made the call that, postpone the game. Our brother's in trouble. And members of both teams, the output has been, to say the least, crazy. Yeah. The love has been crazy for Damar Hamlin, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that. Before we go to break, I'm going to post something here, and I want y'all, if you can, doggone it, I'll have to do it on my show page, but I do have the link for the GoFundMe. I'll put it in the form of an extra link, and I'll try to get the short one up here before we sign off today. But listen, people, keep your brain in check, will you please? All right, keep your brain in check. All right, there's plenty of protocol. There are plenty of things that the NFL did not get right. This one they did.
100.
This one they did. All right. We're going in on Skip Bayless's dumbass, and we're going to reveal the NFC playoff picture because I have a Snowman's take to back up I have a Snowman's take about a possibility that I only said aloud for a few minutes that could stupidly become a reality.
Yeah.
Crazy. Back after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage, a loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high-potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus. Smarter than energy.
This coffee with McCarthy is sponsored by Steph Curry Cognac. One, and it's lights out. I love you, but I hate you for that. Play that again, will you please?
Oh, sure, no problem.
Please. This coffee with McCarthy is sponsored by Steph Curry Cognac. One, and it's lights out. Anybody got an idea for an ad that we could put together? Because that's where most of our ads that we played in have come from.
I was like, you read that? I was like,
gracious. Give it to me one more time. Let me hear it one more time. This coffee with McCarthy is sponsored by Steph Curry Cognac. One, and it's lights out. We'll tag Skip Bayless in the next segment, but give me my take, please.
All right.
I have a little unfinished business from yesterday.
Yes, you do. I figured you would. All right. And with that, I will now say to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. We got our asses kicked by the Kansas City Chiefs. We being my team, the San Francisco 49ers. And after that game, I was thinking,
Oh, hell no!
and
Are you kidding me?
but then again, this is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. 16 fourth quarter points will do that to you. And it made me raise a lot of questions about how real is this 49er team. They were sitting at 3-4 at the time. Well, the next week, they go to Los Angeles and blast them. They gave them and told them,
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
And by the time the game was over, 31-14 49ers, I was screaming, Little did I realize what that game had started, because before the game, not only did I pick the 49ers to win, I said, and Cole can verify, I said during this program that I think the 49ers can run the table. And when I said it, I'm going to need a little help from my EP. When I said that the 49ers can run the table, which means 10 consecutive wins, my partner, one of my best friends in broadcasting, Cole Johnson, gave me a little Samuel L. to answer that.
Let me see. Wasn't English. Wasn't retort.
I don't remember asking you a thing.
But not only that, I've had so many people come at me saying,
I'm getting too old for this.
I would think that people would come at you doing this.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, I got plenty of that. After that Kansas City game, I got plenty of that. And yes, I got plenty of this too.
English, do you speak it?
I said, yeah, and I really think they can run the table, which led to this. Well,
you got a
who's
collective
laughing
laugh.
now?
I know you had a collective laugh from people. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm still getting it. Well, who's laughing now?
And to boot, half of those
9 consecutive wins.
And to boot, half of those wins would come with a third string quarterback.
I even had one of my friends say to me, y'all are not winning. You got a third string quarterback. And this was before the Tampa Bay game. I said, oh, yeah. Yes, I gave him the New York accent. I said, oh, yeah. We're going to whoop Tom Brady's ass. And I said that to Rod here that week when we did the picks. When we did the picks. You know, Cole even said, I don't even have to ask Brian who he's picking for that game.
Oh, no, didn't have to.
And it was in America's Game of the Week that got yanked at the third quarter because it was 35-7.
Oh, so Rob was like,
you for real?
Oh, yeah. And the 49ers did this to the Buccaneers. Whoop that ass!
Oh, so you saying that basically the Buccaneers in that game took one big, huge, greasy, colossal
That's exactly what I'm saying. Not only that, it started after the bye week with the San Diego Chargers taking one big fat ass Sunday night.
Oh, let me go right back. Shut out in the second half, yeah.
Shut out in the second half. And then we go to Mexico City.
Oh, no.
And unleash George the Animal Kittle, which led the Cardinals in Mexico City on Monday Night Football, nonetheless. God, wish for Al and Dan and Frank were there to call that one on ABC. Screw ESPN. I'll talk more about that Friday. And the Cardinals, with that 38-10 loss, took one big fat let's see. The New Orleans Saints were next. What do you think happened?
Shut up.
We lost Then we lost Jimmy Garoppolo against the Dolphins.
Right.
And Brock Purdy was inserted. And everybody who was on the edge of the bandwagon fell off.
Correct.
Well, the Miami Dolphins, who led 7-0 after one play, wound up taking and then you get to the Tampa Bay. Damn, I can't say it the way I want to, but I'll say it anyway. Buccaneers. You get to the Buccaneers. And Rod was chewing my ear off.
I bet.
Talking about, hey, you know Tom Brady gonna whoop your ass. Can I get a little Dolomite for my response, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. And so you responded in this way, sir?
Bitch, are you for real?
Exactly. Not only that, I said, not only will I take the 49ers in my picks, I'm laying the points because they were favored by 7.
I'm sure Rob was thinking.
Do the math. Do the math, my nigga, please.
Exactly. I mean, Rod was so hyped up. Wait, I can't use that comparison. I'm on the air. Sorry.
Oh.
I mean, Rod was so hyped up for Tampa Bay that. Wait, I can't use that one either. Damn. Rod was more hyped than bronsexuals are to see the. Did I just say that aloud? Okay, scratch that. Scratch that from the record. Scratch. And then the game happened. And a beautiful 33-yard pass from Brock Purdy to Christian McCaffrey made the score 21-0. You hit Brandon Ayuk, it's 28-0. Christian McCaffrey slices through that Tampa Bay defense, or what's left of it. And what's left of it, 35-0. Yeah, Tampa Bay gets a junk touchdown against us in the second half. But all in all, Tampa Bay took that big fat ass. Let's see. Beat Seattle, won the West.
That's right.
Beat the Redskins. And then came this one, a sweat job against the Raiders. And it was indeed a sweat job. Man, y'all should listen. I'm down to 235 pounds now. I must have sweated off 20 pounds watching that game. But I gained half of it back along with dinner when Robbie Gould redeemed himself, knocked home the game winner, and I yelled out loud, "Peace out, Raiders." But I give credit to the Raiders. They gave us hell on Sunday. Hell.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Every other team in this winning streak suffered a little bit of
Emotional damage.
because we beat them up. Thank you to my buddy Mel Logic for supplying me with that sound.
I wasn't expecting that. That's
But nonetheless, the Raiders took, even though the game was hard fought, they took and which leads to this week,
where they play the Cardinals again.
where they play the Cardinals at Levi Stadium, and 70,000 people are going to go bananas because here is the situation I never thought I would see. Did I expect the 49ers to make the playoffs? Yes.
Of course.
I even said that they would win the West
division.
going away. I
And
said
they
they
are.
win the West by at least 2 games.
And it's going to be more.
They're up 4. Those 2 things I said in confidence. All right. I somewhat in confidence said the 49ers would run the table. And Cole looked at me like, are you kidding? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Give me Paul Allen here. Even Cole looked at me and said,
Are you kidding me?
Because I thought they would trip up at least one of those times. It's like,
same.
yeah.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the 49ers would get tripped up. Hell, I thought San Diego would come in and trip us up because we're coming off of a bye. San Diego already played. You know, they got a little momentum. The team I thought that would trip us up would be Miami at home.
Same. Although I did think the 49ers were going to win, I thought
the teams I thought that would trip us up would be Miami, Tampa Bay, and Seattle in that 3-game gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
In that 3-game gauntlet.
Yeah, it ended up being the Raiders. And they didn't trip you up.
The Raiders that frightened the daylights out of us.
And that was the toughest game you had in that stretch after KC. But yeah.
But riddle me this. In this 9-game winning streak, 6 times the Niners scored 30-plus points. 6 times.
And I thought they were all defense.
I thought they were all defense too, but the offenses come together. And by the way, Christian McCaffrey is 7-1 after joining the 49ers. Or actually, that's wrong. He's 9-1. He's 9-1 since joining the 49ers.
All right. So moment of transparency.
Yes.
And a moment of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
On this very program, when the trade happened, I did say that Christian McCaffrey's pickup by the 49ers would not be a great one, but I think it would be a slight mistake considering the recent history of his medical prognoses when he was with Shaw in the Carolina.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I actually said the 49ers might regret it, and right now here, January 3rd, 2023, in front of the Fanatics feedback zone, and of course, one of the most rabid 49ers fans I know, I will definitely say that right now, Cole Sports or Cole Johnson will take that big, in regards to Christian McCaffrey, will take the big, colossal, fat, greasy, juicy, running from uphill in the highest of Mount Everest peaks all the way down to sea level. I will take the humongous for that take.
A moment of transparency here. I was excited when it was announced that we were getting Christian McCaffrey. We were trading for Christian McCaffrey, and I thought the same thing. What about his injury history? Kyle Shanahan is a freaking genius. In terms
there isn't anything else I could say about that. Yes, I agree.
Kyle Shanahan's a genius for the way they've schemed him, the way they've used him. Have they gotten a lot of usage out of him? Yeah, but look at the backfield. It's loaded.
He's gotten a lot of smart usage, and I think that was the one thing that I have noticed with his current stint versus the stint with Carolina. I was thinking, so it definitely wasn't the uses as much as the way he was used.
Yep. And the game against the Rams after we lost to Kansas City didn't use him much against Kansas City. Just threw a couple of plays out there. Okay, Christian, why don't you do this? During the Rams game, unleashed him.
Yeah,
think about it. Unleashed him during the Rams game.
Caught a touchdown pass, ran for a touchdown, and threw one.
And Rod West, Christian McCaffrey did something Devontae Adams would never do. He ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown pass, and threw a touchdown.
In the same game.
And
as for the comment,
I don't remember asking you a thing.
Say what you want about what Devontae Adams did to us. Yeah, they beat us over the top because we didn't take Jarrett Stidham seriously. That will change. But in the end, even given what Devontae Adams did to us and the defense, who won the game?
It was a team that was clad in white and scarlet and has the gold helmets, which that doesn't sound like silver and black
Nope.
to me. Yeah, it was 49ers who won it. Yeah.
So, Mr. West, while I'm thinking about it,
Oh no.
you know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Rod, do me a favor, will you please?
Shut up, fool!
In case you didn't hear me, I said,
Shut up, fool!
And we're hospitable here at Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. We feel as though, Mr. West, you need to take a sample of a drink, and we're going to serve it to you properly. Because with all of the taste that you administer, you need to stop the cap.
please.
Enjoy that, please. Enjoy that wonderful beverage.
Yeah, and enjoy the L that the Raiders took in overtime.
Oh, and as for the prediction of your beloved Patriots, that's without TB12. When they play next, they're going to take one of these and be bounced from the playoffs.
And I'm hoping the same for another quarterback that wears number 12, but we'll talk about that on Friday. So I say this. The Niners leapfrog the Vikings into the number 2 seed, with Philadelphia losing to New Orleans.
Now that was
which brings me to the point I wanted to say for last. There is a possibility, and a very strong one,
yep,
that the 49ers could leapfrog Philadelphia
and be the number 1 seed.
Which means a week off and 2 games at Levi Stadium. There's a song that I love playing when the 49ers win. Thank you, E40. And he said in that song, Levi Stadium starting to sound like Candlestick Park. And if you're familiar with the 49ers dynasty in the 80s, and yes, Rod, I said dynasty, damn it.
Oh, God, they were rabid.
If you ever saw a game, be it on television or in person, at Candlestick Park, they were some straight up fools.
I still, to this day, and it's now almost 41 years ago. In fact, next Wednesday will mark the 41-year anniversary of this. The moment Dwight Clark's feet hit the end zone,
yes,
in that catch. As I've said this to you before, I don't think I ever at that time ever heard any louder reaction from a TV set than then, because it was to the point where it was to the point you heard popping in your speakers.
Yep,
the sound was so loud, and of course in wrestling they call it a pop, and the pop was so huge.
Oh man!
But at the same time,
was it ever?
But
Speaking
at the same time, I'm in a room in Houston full of Cowboys fans, and you could literally hear a pin drop.
Yep. Hey, same when I went to school the next day. Speaking of Candlestick Park, here's a memory for you.
Second down, Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell, intercepted! The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption! Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown! No greater redemption can a man seek! Navarro Bowman, who could not cover an onside kick, catches a deflected pass for an interception and runs it 7 miles for a touchdown.
Ted Robinson on the call on KNBR for the 49ers.
Oh, and the 49ers closed down Candlestick.
They shut down Candlestick with that pick, but it really opened up on January 10th, 1982 with the catch. Talk about the start of a dynasty. And there is the possibility 4 weeks ago was not even there.
No.
Okay, because Minnesota was playing well and Philadelphia was playing well. Kudos to both of them. They have their playoff tickets punched, as do the 49ers.
Right.
But I never thought 4 weeks later I would utter this sentence. There was a possibility for the 49ers to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, because all they have to do is beat the Cardinals, which
they're favored by 14.
Yeah, but to say they've already spanked it by 28 in Mexico City,
and they're gonna bury him at Levi's.
They're gonna bury him at home. All they need is that, and a and a Giants victory over the Eagles, and the number 1 seed will be the 49ers. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. So yes, 49ers will have the W.
Because we're gonna kill some Cardinals.
And I'm not rooting for this, but I'm just saying if it happens, the Eagles will have to take one final to the Giants.
And I close with, who the hell would have thunk it?
I'll admit, wasn't me. I will admit that.
Who the hell would have thunk it? That's Snowman's take. What is yours? To the Fanatics feedback zone. If you think for a second that the Bills, from what they witnessed last night, are going to come out of the gates swinging on Sunday, you must be outside your mind. They are going to come out swinging. I think he meant to say aren't going to come out swinging.
Easy if you don't think for a second that they are.
If you don't, okay, I read that wrong. Sorry,
Ryan. To your point, they're going to be more massively motivated than any other team in NFL now,
especially with a chance to eliminate the Patriots.
Yeah.
Let's see. Come out swinging, he says. Where is it? I got a clip for you. Where is it? Damn it, where is it? All right, here we go. Hey, Rod West, the Bills are going to come out swinging like this.
Breaking ball hit deep into center field. Griffey goes back, looks up. You can put it on the ground slam for Big Frank Thomas. Yeah.
You're going to come out swinging like that. They're going to come out swinging like that.
And speaking of coming up swinging and coming out
swinging. Let's bring
we had to invite one of our homeboys on here. It's been a minute since we chopped up with him, and it's going to be great to chop it up with him again. Eagles League Podcast, play callers. This guy is something else. Welcome back once again. One of the biggest Eagles fans as we know, Cool McCain.
Danger is his business. What's up, Mr.
Oh,
I love
Gentlemen.
It is a pleasure to see you back here, bro.
Salute to you, my friend.
Salute to you guys as well.
Hey, 3 weeks time. Don't care about anybody else in the NFC. It'll be Eagles and 49ers for the NFC Championship. Period. I said it at the start of the season. Don't show me that worried look, Cool. Come on.
Oh, it's not a worried look. It's a look of agitation.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think
agitation.
Yeah, I don't think he's worried. Yeah, because
he's just agitated as all hell with what's going on lately.
I
could listen, Mr. McCain. If anybody can empathize with you, you're looking at him.
See, Cool and I were talking. Yeah, Cool and I were talking. We talked Christmas, you know, and we talked the day after about the 40-34 loss that they took to the Cowboys in Arlington, and I said, I'm seeing something disturbing. And that something disturbing is the one thing that it actually was one of the biggest pluses for them, which was the secondary. All of a sudden, seemed to lose the fact that they could communicate with each other. And I'm thinking, that's a dangerous sign, man. Especially with the defensive front just putting Dak on the turf time after time after time again. And so I said this to Cool. Cool was like, I see the same thing you're seeing, bro. But I talked to other Eagles fans. They were like, mere back of shells, we're good. And then the same thing happened Sunday.
And go ahead, Cool.
Here's the thing. The secondary has been a little off because that's what happens when, your slot corner just has some unfortunate injuries, and you're having to play Josiah Scott in that position, who was nowhere near the same level of talent, understanding of the schemes and things.
Right.
I think a lot of my fan base does not understand that no matter how great a corner is, they're going to get burned. You're going to guess wrong. Yes. You're going to read wrong. Sometimes you're going to get booked. Bradbury got toasted Sunday.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, Bradbury got toasted in the Saints game. You would think Slay did in the Cowboys game, especially with the 3rd and 30 that they converted 52 yards. That was a cover 2 with the safety not giving the deep coverage deep enough. And people were all over Slay. I'm like, that wasn't his fault. He played the position correctly.
Now, the one thing that he did do wrong there is he didn't give the safety the read early enough for him to be able to respond because of, again, Scott was playing that position in that particular play because of injuries. Right. So he didn't give him time to do that. They don't want to put Blankenship there, who was actually playing for Chauncey Gordon-Johnson, who was normally in that position. They don't want to put Blankenship there because he's more of a hitter. He's not at the point in his career as a rookie where he's your cover guy. So when it happens, you have to put Josiah Scott there. So Scott didn't make the read in time because Slade didn't jump the line like he should have to alert Scott early enough. Scott should have still been there, but I'm just saying if we're looking at what part, Slade played in that play, that was the only thing that he did incorrectly. And so Scott took the angle. He took the angle to go under. You never take the angle to go under if you have a guy already under. You always take the angle to go over. He takes the angle to go over. Worst case scenario, he knocks that ball away. We get the ball.
Exactly. And that's what I was reading. I was like, yeah, and exactly. Because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if you're going to fault Slay, say that, okay, I'm going to free release, have my back have my back deep. And like you said, I don't think he gave it soon enough. But even with that being said, you would think it would be read to where you were like, okay, so he's releasing, so I got to be deep, and they're going deep. To me, I'm like, okay, so this is when cover 2 goes wrong. But the level of vitriol, especially Eagles fan, the level of vitriol they heaped towards Slay was ridiculous in that game. And I'm like, that wasn't his fault. That was his fault. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do in terms of being in position. Now, I agree with you. On the field, because I was an offensive lineman. On the field, you do have to read reads, and you have to be alert as to what your teammates want to do so that you can adjust on the fly.
Pay attention, Dak Prescott.
So to that point, cool, you're correct. But in terms of positioning, Slay was exactly what he was supposed to be, but he got burned by Eagles fan because they just saw T.Y. Hilton run behind him, and I'm like, Slay released him. There's a difference.
Slay did what he was supposed to. Do.
There's a difference between a corner releasing a wide receiver to go on a route and a route where the defensive back gets absolutely toasted and beat.
And this is where the defensive back
we're missing Devontae Maddox real bad as well. We're missing Devontae Maddox and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Those are two guys we're missing very badly right now.
Speaking of Maddox, in that very same game against the Cowboys, he seemed like he was on his way to having a game of his year against the Cowboys. I just kept seeing him everywhere. I'm like, oh man. He's plugging up the holes for the run. He's dropping in coverage. He's taking any type of wheel route away. He's taking any curl route away. I mean, in that first quarter, I kept seeing his jersey everywhere, and then I was so forlorn when I saw him have to get out with his injury. I was like, "Oh God, man!" And that seemed to really be, to me, where at least the secondary part of the Eagles defense turned. Right.
Okay, we're having a fight.
Definitely was.
We're having a fight in the Fanatics feedback zone because Rod West opened his mouth, and Lavaris just dropped the comment of the day. Here's where it started. And cool, I want you in on the fun too. Rod said this.
I'm sorry. Let me invoke this fun too.
Yeah, y'all. Okay, for those of you that are listening via the SDM Sports Radio Network, Rod West said,
quote,
"My Patriots defense are better than the 2000 Ravens, period. Hashtag said it."
Close quote. And now we will open up a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled "Cocaine is a Heck of a Drug." Please.
Can we wait. Can I get a little Dolomite in response to that, please?
Oh, you most certainly can.
Bitch, are you for real?
Ryan McCoffey joined in on the fun, saying, "I'm sorry, Rod, but I can't compare the 2022 Pats defense to the 2000 Ravens when they gave up 30-plus points to, of all teams, the Bears on national television." Bitch!
All right.
I'm sorry.
Now, before you continue.
My response was this. Okay.
Yeah, hold. Before you continue.
Yes, sir.
Let's do this properly. We will continue doing this because the trolling needs to start and continue. But hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson begins with Cool McCain right about now.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2.
The hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2.
The one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2. Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2. That's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2,
YSL.
Oh man, I thought I missed it. What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. Cole Johnson is a damn genius. And a mad madman for that opening. This is indeed hour 2. Cool McCain joins us. That's Cole Johnson. I'm Brian Snow, and we got the Fanatics feedback zone lit up because Rod West said something stupid.
Oh God!
Is this the same Rod West that was
last
night?
Yes.
Trying to love on LeBron.
Yes.
What 40-some points he got? Knowing good and doggone well that Spider Mitchell went and dropped 71. Is this the
71?
Yes. I'm sorry.
The very same. Yes.
The very same one. Mm-hmm. Spider Mitchell dropped 71, and yet Rod West has LeBron's member all in his mouth because he dropped 41 against an inferior team. Oh,
Rod West.
Bitch! Rod. I'm sorry.
But Rod. you actually had to say that the defense blows, bro.
Yes.
Stop it, Rod West.
And I said it that way for that particular reason. To which Lavaris responded this way.
The 2022 Pats defense is just like Kim Kardashian. Everyone has been up in that hole.
In the immortal words of Gabrielle Iglesias, damn!
Lavaris.
Damn!
That's all.
That's a fire with that one, bro.
Listen. I mean, all I could say is, damn.
Rod,
Hey,
you can't get on
do us a
TV and
favor. If
say
you're
these type
enjoying
of
the
things.
show, drop a cash app for either Cole and myself and the others that come on to contribute the show, or join us on Patreon each month. But damn,
what'd you say, Cool?
I said, Rod, you can't get on. You can't get in chats and say stuff like that, bro. Like, people are gonna question your journalistic integrity. Come on, bro.
Does he have any?
You know, I understand like the LeBron thing. You love LeBron, but the 2022 Patriots defense better than the 2000 Ravens defense?
Only from the standpoint that they get pick sixes. I'm like, okay, fine, but the 2000 Ravens did other things better. Other things, actually,
Like,
they did other things better than getting pick six.
Like, stop the run.
But Cole,
right?
And
They did other things
late,
better.
And a shout to a shout to the late great Tony Siragusa, who was one of the monsters on that defensive line. What'd you say?
Because everybody's throwing all over them.
Yep.
That's why they get more picks, because everyone's throwing all over them.
But that's the only reason why anyone would think, well, the pass defense are great or good. It's because they keep scoring points, and they have to because their offense isn't generating much off any points.
Their offense sucks. I'm sorry.
I mean, heck, a defense coordinator who's in charge of the offense is having to call tip drills just to actually score on a defense. I mean, please. Yeah, don't get me started on the Patriots.
Oh no. We have a new ad. Thank you, Sick Diggy, for this.
Oh, good. Okay. Rod West's mindless rants are sponsored by Bum Tears Handkerchiefs. When you have to take an wipe your tears with Burn Tears Handkerchiefs. Bum Tears Handkerchiefs.
You know that's got to be an ad now.
Oh my gosh.
See, every time we get a new ad.
Thank you, Ryan.
There's a photo of Josh Allen sacking Josh Allen. I told y'all Cole's a genius. Hell, Cole jumped out of his seat when he saw the opening for Eagles Elite podcast.
Oh man.
I thought
that was one of the greatest joys to create that, man.
I thought I thought Cool was gonna start dancing when he saw that opening. And for the first, when I saw the opening, and I tune in, and Cole just has this 2.5 foot smile on his face, and all he could say for like the first 5 minutes is that opening.
That man.
Thank you, Cole Johnson. That opening,
man. That was one of my greatest joys to create. Seriously, to create that. And I'm not saying that because Cool's on. That was one of my greatest joys to create that one, because I wanted to put my foot in creating it. Because I was like,
well, I hope you do the same in that 49ers show that I'm going to put together.
Oh man,
but, I know your time has been like limited, especially lately. Totally get that.
But to tell you, Cool, how impactful, and I think you heard it with on NCBs, how impactful it was. As soon as Wise saw the Eagles Elite podcast intro that I created for you, he said to me, he says, now you're gonna have to make me an intro. You got to. I'm like, doggone, man, really?
Well, I didn't appear yesterday until the second hour, and Cole said, "You missed the revamp." I'm like, "What?" And then he played it, and then he played. I played the opening when we signed off yesterday. I haven't stopped playing it because I had him send it to me. I haven't stopped playing it. And Lavaris, you're right. He is a mad scientist.
Thank you, Lavaris. I appreciate that, man.
The way, if y'all saw the intro this morning, my beautiful wife, Jody, Dr. K, is in the intro, but then he took her signature and echoed it. I played it for her,
before she left this morning.
Okay.
She said, "Y'all really have me involved in this program, don't you?"
It's such a cute delivery. That's what I love about it.
That was created when we were in North Carolina
Mm-hmm.
because she said it one morning to me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when and cool, this as well, being a content creator, you hear something and it rings a bell in your head. And you're like, okay, how can I get that? So I approached her one day and I said, "Baby, can you record something for me?" She says, "What's that?" And I handed her an index card with the line, "Mister, will you please wake up?"
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me with this evil grin and she goes, "How do you want to record it?" I said, "I want you to record it the way you would say it to me when we're running late." And that's how it popped out.
But I'm telling you though, I'll say this: you all brag about my gifts and talents, which I totally appreciate. Thank you guys.
Man.
I laid eyes on Sam Shady's Shady Sports Network logo.
Wise.
I'm like, no, that was cool.
Oh, that was cool. Did that?
My jaw. That was cool. That was cool.
Wow.
My jaw dropped. I was like, whoa, that thing is fire.
Sam's my guy.
Oh man.
Oh, Sam's mine too.
Hey,
that thing was fire.
I bow to you, Mr. McCool.
Yes,
danger is his business.
fire.
Like I said,
I do what I can, man.
Hey, thank you, Sick, for this. Because she's now saying that a lot to me.
Mm-mm.
And that's
please wake up.
That's actually a soundbite on my phone. Like whenever she calls me from work, I have it plugged into. Well, you all know my routine now. When I sign off here, I download the bites that I need for the podcast, and then I insert them, and I go take a nap. Now I have that sound of her saying, "Will you please wake up?" as a ringtone when she calls me from work. And it's so funny. It's so funny because more often than not, my dog Lucy is with me, and she'll jump too at Jody's voice. So she'll hear, "Mister, will you please wake up?" And Jody and Lucy will jump and go, "Wait, Mom's home? Wait, what?" We're joined by Cool McCain to kick off hour 2 as we talk some NFL. Mr. McCain, a quick preview, if you would, for week number 18 with your beloved Eagles.
Yeah, what do you see coming down the pike?
Well,
and do you think Hurts is going to start?
That's the main question.
Hurts should start.
Yeah.
I have a different take from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think my coaching staff is book smart, but very lacking in common sense.
Yes.
I think the problem is he could have played the last 2 weeks. He's been saying he could play. Look at interview he's done. He's saying he could play. He finished the game after the injury, threw for over 100 yards. I think he only missed one pass in that time frame. And that was the receiver broke one way. He threw the ball inside, the receiver broke outside, or vice versa. In that whole entire time after the injury, I think we had a coaching staff that really was nonsensical enough to believe that we were going to win games with Gardner Minshew as a starting quarterback because he beat the Jets last year. I understand the Jets last year were a train wreck. That was not the representation of most NFL teams. And that's not a knock on the Jets, but the fact that they were a train wreck last year. They were not a good team last year. They're much better this year.
And it's not a representation of the 3 teams that's left that you have to play.
It's not.
Right.
And the thing is, I said they're not going to play him against the Cowboys because the Cowboys lost, because they feel like, oh, we just have to win it against the Cowboys, the Giants, or the Saints, and we know we can beat the Saints. But in the words of Herman Edwards, that's why you play the game. And honestly, you took a quarterback that cannot run, the RPO is worthless for, and inserted him in and did not change anything. And you expected him to be successful. So you've done nothing to make Gardner Minshew be successful. If anything, you've lowered his stock in most people's eyes. So congratulations for that. You tried to ride the
Your
great
sarcasm
week.
is awesome.
Yeah, you tried to ride the great week that he had, overthrowing Quez Watkins for a wide open touchdown, overthrowing Devontae Smith, who was jumping out of the gym that day, and you still managed to overthrow him on the last drive.
And throwing 2 passes to Watkins that turned to picks.
And then you kept throwing the ball to a guy who can't hold onto the ball when he's being covered. Then you turn around this week in a pivotal moment of a game that you put us in the situation that we were in.
Throws a pick six in your own
You
side.
looked down AJ Brown the whole time, who was very unpleased with you the entire game.
Not unpleased.
I will say this right here.
I love it.
I give AJ Brown all props in the world for continuing to be a consummate professional.
Same.
With Gardner Minshew back there doing whatever the heck he was doing, masquerading as a quarterback. But you looked down AJ Brown. You saw the corner come up. You never left the read.
Right.
And you threw him the ball. It was a beautiful ball. If you were going for the corner. But that's why the Philadelphia Eagles decided to do something that always works out negative. We're going to throw the ball over 30 times with the backup, and we're going to have 9 running yards in the first half. We're going to have 7 running yards in the entire game. But we're a running team with a backup quarterback. And we think that's going to be successful. So congratulations, idiots, on the coaching staff.
And then the game before, you wanted to show off that, Minshew was an NFL caliber quarterback. He's auditioning basically to be on another team as a starter next year. And you have him throw and throw and throw and throw, and you build a lead and you keep throwing.
You don't run the football.
And the answer is Sick Diggy. There's 4 running backs on the roster that the quarterback has faith in. But there's none, it seems to be, that the offensive coordinator, who I wouldn't mind being gone after this year either, has faith in. You have Miles Sanders, who is a Pro Bowler.
And now a 1,000-yard rusher this year.
And a 1,000-yard rusher. Multiple touchdowns. Best year he's had as a running back, but we're not getting him the ball enough.
I love that bit of truth.
Bitter Truth said it best. He auditioned him right out of the NFL.
Right out of the NFL.
Pretty much. You will build back up again next year, Gardner Minshew. You can thank those guys in the Eagles coaching staff for it.
Yep.
We have Kenneth Gainwell, who had a touchdown that was called back on a bogus hold.
Right.
We have Boston Scott, who does punt returns sometimes as well, and is supposed to be the power back, even though he's shorter than me. And then we have Trey Sermon, who's a bowling ball with feet, who hardly ever plays, but when he does play, he looks well.
I was wanting to ask you that. I was like, doggone it, they have a bowling ball running back. Why don't they use him?
Because they're afraid to use him.
I don't know.
This is the only answer
I didn't remember hearing.
I don't
know.
And I can't remember him being injured, and I can't remember him being in the doghouse. I was like, what the heck?
They're not using. They're just afraid to use him.
So the simple fact of the matter is, I'm going to answer Michael Parsons' question that he sarcastically asked a few weeks ago.
Dummy.
Michael Parsons asked, was it the team or was it Jalen Hurts? So to answer your question, it was Jalen Hurts, sir. It's not
not the team.
Because if you don't have the correct person at quarterback, all the weapons in the world mean nothing. Gardner Minshew has shown you that the past 2 weeks.
Which is why I was upset.
Brock Purdy has shown that with Frisco the last 5 weeks.
Which was why I was upset, man, when I heard that Minshew was starting in the Cowboys game instead of Hurts, because my thought was, you might as well get this out the way. You already know you can beat the Cowboys. You might as well start Hurts, and if this is something where he can't really play through, fine, take him out then. But if he's giving you any indication of, okay, coach, I can go, well, let him start. And you probably will win the game. And if you do, you don't have to do a doggone thing after that because you don't play another game outside of Lincoln Financial Field until it is the Super Bowl.
But Cole,
Phoenix,
we could win with Gardner Minshew. That's what Nick Sirianni said. He's very confident in Gardner Minshew, and we can win games with Gardner Minshew.
And Jalen Hurts is the one who carried you for 16 weeks.
And that is what that and that logic is what blew my mind. I'm like, no, you got to this mark with Jalen Hurts. You got to this mark because defenses don't know what you're going to throw at them. They don't know if you're going to run against them for 200 yards or if you're going to throw for 300 yards because this guy is stirring. This guy is the reason why your team is where they are. And if he's able to go, and he's saying he's able to go, put him in there. And then when you have everything sewn, then you can have the audition tape for Gardner Minshew against the Saints and the Giants because it really won't matter. But to your point, what you just said, though, I think the hubris of the coaching staff of the Eagles is probably going to say, look, we're so cold. We got 2 quarterbacks. This guy here is going to clinch us number 1.
Yeah, just like when he got in and beat the Jets last year. But see, here's the problem. This is where my problem comes in at. If you're going to play Gardner Minshew against the Saints, you need a run-heavy game plan. He does not throw 32 times. That's unacceptable. That means you have a piss-poor game plan.
I love that term.
If you were going to do that,
reminds me of my dad saying it to me.
Yeah, if you were going to run the game plan that you ran, you should have inserted Jalen Hurts and said, let's go ahead and win against the Saints this week, because that's an easier game for you to play and win than taking it to the Giants week 17. So now you put yourself week 17. First multiple game losing streak of the year. One of your better defensive performances, even with my boy getting burnt. With Bradbury getting burnt, that's still one of our best defensive performances of the year. We held them to defensively 13 points, and then Minshew handed them 7 points on a platter. So we only gave up 13 points as a defense. And the defense has been struggling the last 5 or 6 weeks because of injuries. There was one time where I remember they tried to go big, like on the goal line with Taysom Hill. So we put in our big package. So think about, I'm looking, I see trotting on the field, Jordan Davis, Linval Joseph, and Dominican Sue. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not about to run the ball this play. And they tried to run the ball with Taysom Hill, and he ended up on his hind parts and did not score.
On his hind parts. Love that word.
And this is what's frustrating me about. This is what frustrates me about the Eagles now. So you have now built your defensive line to where teams are going to have to pass it, because it looks like they're starting to get that continuity where they can stop the run continuously. And it looks like now they're just like the 49ers. They can rush forward and get to the quarterback and put him on his hind parts time after time after time. So teams are not going to have to throw, and you can't get that together.
So the thing is,
it's poor game.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 21-day window was activated last week. We didn't activate it because I think unrealistically, we're fine. We could just let him practice this weekend. We're fine. No, we're getting him on the field. So I think hopefully he plays this week. We haven't gotten updates, because normally with us, it's whatever happens on Wednesday practices determines who has a chance to play and who doesn't. So we don't have that information yet. But from what I can see and what I can tell you, he needs to play. Blankenship needs to play, because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can play the Josiah Scott role. The role that matters would be playing if he was healthy, because he was a corner before as well. And he was our guy that was getting a lot of interceptions early in the season before he got hurt.
Yeah.
A lot of those turnovers that was helping us win games, that was CJ. So getting him back is going to be major for the defense. Hopefully he's able to play this week. That's going to shore up the pass defense, because when you have to look and say, who am I going to throw the ball to? You leave Blankenship on the short coverage because he's not that good in coverage yet.
Right.
But then Johnson can be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can go back to being the over the top guy when you're playing cover 2, when you're playing cover 3, when you're playing these soft zone crap that
I'm with you on
my
that,
coach loves to play. He's the guy that can make plays in that, regardless of the poor play calling. As we see,
I'm with you on
Jalen Hurts is the same way. To me, the last 2 weeks have shown us Jalen Hurts is the MVP, because the play calling is piss poor, but he finds a way to make it work.
Right.
You take that same piss poor play calling, you get it to Gardner Minshew, it doesn't work. You talk about these guys like Justin Herbert. You talk about these guys like Pat Mahomes. These guys who have these great systems where it's pass friendly, where they're calling plays to help those guys win.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the Eagles, where you got idiots. It looks like calling plays. They don't even know how to differentiate between differences in quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have a guy playing very well. That tells me that he's going out there and he's making plays happen. So he's fighting against his own play calling as well as the other team's defense, and he's being successful. So to me, that's more impressive than someone else with bloated numbers, because they're in a system where they have everything laid out for them to be successful. But we don't want to have that conversation when it comes to MVP.
And
we want the
that
MVP, the guy that has the best numbers, that doesn't get hurt, that's on the sexy team, that looks like the people that vote.
And unfortunately, because
all truth there,
all truth you spoke, bro. And unfortunately, because
hey, Rod, listen carefully. What Cool just spoke, all truth and no cap.
And unfortunately, because the Eagles had to take 2 L's as a
major
result of that type of thinking, it has basically made it basically makes everybody have to face the fact that, okay, this team is made more valuable and more dangerous and more potent because of number one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a simple case of you insert Jalen Hurts in the lineup and the whole team performs better.
Yeah.
And I mean, defensively too, the whole team performs better because the defense, they don't feel as though they have to press to get pick sixes, which they can.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to press to load up and get 7 sacks, which they can. And they can play free, which that's what you want your defense to be. You want your defense to play free. You want them to be athletically gifted and let that shine and let the offense take care of being physical.
Yep. That's definitely what you want. We're up against the break, but Cool McCain joins us. We will have him on
as
much as we can during the postseason. And when the NFC Championship happens, Cool, you must be a guest on that 49ers show. I'd love to have you.
Hey, as long as we can get Hurts back healthy and Lane Johnson. And the funny thing is, so many people whined about Lane Johnson. I don't even remember. I don't. As I'm watching the game, I didn't even miss Lane Johnson. I wasn't like, man, Lane Johnson's not playing. That's why this is happening.
Right.
And I'm not saying that he's not better, but I'm just saying that the line that we had was able to do enough to where I wasn't in the game thinking, man, I miss Lane Johnson. And this was against a good front from New Orleans. New Orleans has a good front.
They do. So that's the best part of the team.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of sacks were.
That's the best part of their team.
A lot of sacks were, and a lot of rush plays that were happening to Minshew was him stepping into a tackle. You're open and you stepped into a hole that's not covered, that's there for the purpose of being able to block someone into it. And he got sacked.
Yeah. You got to read these things as a quarterback. I mean, there is technique, and people, unlike you, Cool, and unlike Brian, there are people that don't quite understand. There's a dance that happens between the offensive line and the quarterback, and that the quarterback has to read. Oh, okay, so all right, so the center wants to guide the defensive tackle here, and the left guard wants to guide one of the other three, wants to guide them at this spot. Okay, so that means I can't step here, I can't step here. So where I am is good, and I got to understand that's where the protection is going. And if you're a quarterback and you don't read that, that is when you put your team in danger,
in peril. You put your team in peril. All right, Cool. Stand by. I want you to get a piece of what we're gonna destroy in terms of Skip Bayless. Hour 2 of Snowman in the Morning continues after the break.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where A-Trap B always predicts.
If I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
Live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high-potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus. Smarter than energy.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brux Night Guard. Now, the Brux Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Brux Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to BruxNightGuard.com and order yours today.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Cause we take this job so serious.
Man, I went home that day and talked to my wife, Vicky. And Vicky was like, "What's wrong with you? You pissed off?" "Yeah, I got this partner I'm working with back in the radio station, man. The Negro be lying." What in the all types of blue hell?
Yes, it's Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
The immortal Space bringing us back from break. When did you find that clip?
Oh my! Oh gosh! I've been rummaging through a few of them, and when I saw that, I was like,
"And you saw that one?
Mm-hmm. That's a snippet I got to use."
Oh Lord, that was
because I
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I was going to say that I just love the fact that it impressed upon Wise and me having Baze say "Negro be lying."
That was, of course, from the episode of when Chris and I met and we talked about football, and I threw the stat out about Kurt Warner throwing for 400 yards in the Super Bowl. Bass didn't believe me, went home, looked it up, and then the next day he came back and just had a look on his face of how. We'll honor Chris Bass on Friday. Right now, we got something to do. We got someone to fry.
Yes, we do.
And before we fry him, there's this.
Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is brought to you by Penis Water for the ebbs and flows of life. Trust Penis 15 Water.
And he made the background yellow in creating that. Skip Bayless, sit your ass down.
Now, before I say anything, excuse me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. There. Now that I got that out of the way, give me this camera. Skip Bayless, you conniving idiot. Where is it? I'll push this button. Skip Bayless said, quote, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant." Close quote. Well, how about the fact that a man almost died on the field, you stupid ass? How about the fact that a man suffered cardiac arrest? How about the fact that, yes, when you sign up to play a gladiator sport, it's a gladiator sport, but stuff like that happens. Have you ever heard of the story of one Hank Gathers? We talked about this earlier in the show. Went up for a dunk, completed the dunk, and then collapsed and died on the floor. Say it again. April 1990. Excuse me. February 1990. I beg your pardon. March. Thank you.
March.
My days are crossed up.
It's understandable.
West Coast Conference Tournament. Went up for a dunk, came down, and collapsed. And died a few moments later. And it's kind of fitting that he won't speak on this BS tweet that he made. Thank you, Bitter Truth Show, for that. Because it's BS. That's some grade A homogenized Holstein bullshit if I ever heard it. You just don't get the fact that a man almost died on the field and is now in critical condition. Let me say that again. Critical condition. I'll say it a third time so you can, you know, where is he? Where is he at? Where is he at? Hey, Skip, got a question for you.
English, do you speak it?
He almost died. He's in critical condition. And by the way, every fan I know is saying this to you.
I don't remember asking you a thing.
Period. The reason he won't say anything is because he knows what he put out was stupid. This is one of the reasons I stopped watching his dumb ass, and I'll never watch him again. I have quite a few reasons why I don't watch sports talk on television, but I'll save that for tomorrow. How do you say something like that, knowing the medical situation, knowing the big situation that's going on here? They wound up postponing the game. Will it be made up and played? I don't know. And at this point in time, I severely doubt it.
Don't care. Yeah.
Who cares at this point in time? The only thing that should matter to you right now is the life of Damar Hamlin. You know, and Ryan McCarthy just said the amazing part of the tweet is still up.
Yeah. 9:40 a.m.
Here's your proof. Right there. The damn tweet is still up.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this a couple times before, and it hasn't happened, but it needs to happen now. Skip Bayless, you need to be fired. You need to be relieved of your duties. You need to go. Who's washing dishes here? No, I'm kidding. You need to go, Mr. Bayless. Fox Sports needs to tell you, Okay, I will borrow George Carlin from 1986, and I will edit said comment. Fox Sports need to tell you, adios, motherfucker. Forgive me. I just cussed. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'll say it again. Fox Sports needs to tell you, adios, motherfucker. Because that tweet you put up was insensitive. That tweet you put up was uncaring. And that tweet you put up, which still stands right now, 9:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That tweet is still up. And you're still somehow happily employed with your fake ass tears coming down your face. They need to sock you in the mouth and get rid of you.
And also, that tweet is
tone deaf.
I needed that. I just have one final sentence before I let the other guys chime in. And it's pretty simple. And I've said this for some 20 plus years about Skip Bayless and his dumbass takes. Anybody remember the one he said about one Derrick Rose?
There's so many I've told. I literally have forgotten them.
Anybody remember the ones he made about one Wardell Stephen Curry II? Skip Bayless, you. Who gets the ball next?
I'll do it. And now that you had to sit on the hot seat, I think now it's time for you to receive one of these, Mr. Bayless.
Now cook.
So let me get this straight. Your primary concern, although you try to walk it back, in the tweet was, this game is important. The magnitude of this game, it's late in the season. It has playoff implications. And it's going to be usurped by this? Sir, this is what's embarrassing about your tweet, even with the fact you walked it back. And I'm sure you're on Undisputed as we speak, and you're walking it back even further. You were 71 years old. You are 1 year younger than my mother. You should have enough on this earth, enough knowledge, enough wisdom, and enough understanding that sports is huge because it drums up a lot of money and it's great for entertainment, but it pales in comparison to life. There's a song that, and this might not, well, you try to think that you hang with the brothers, but there's a song that Soul to Soul did back in 1999. You may have heard, you may not, but it goes, back to life, back to reality. This is a whole lot more important. A 24-year-old young man who is living his dream, who now gets to be on a platform that the platform itself, it has suffered in recent memory. But when you were barely an adult, and when when Cool Brian and I weren't even a twinkle in the gleam in an eye of our parents, it was the biggest stage in sports. Monday Night Football. You have this game, this stage that has been paraded in front of us for the last 53 years. And this young man who has grown up in 24 of those years now gets to be on the stage where it's him and his team against another who's doing spectacular things just like they are. He gets to live all of those dreams. He gets to see, well, since he's 24, so we have to go back to probably when he was probably a tyke in the early to mid 2000s. So he gets to see Peyton Manning and Tom Brady do his thing and Ray Lewis do his thing and say, I want to be like them. He gets the opportunity to do that. He does a textbook tackle on T. Higgins, the wide receiver for the Bengals. Higgins collides with his sternum, and the Bills cornerback falls to the ground. He gets back up, and as soon as he puts his 2 feet on the ground, he stumbles and falls. The moment his butt hit the turf, anything regarding, and I mean anything regarding playoff implications, playoff seeding, who was going to win that game, if the game was going to continue, heck, even if the playoffs were to start, all should have been moot. All of it. And the fact that this is the last game in week 17 of the 2022 season, that's moot. And no, I'm not doing it like I'm Ray Ray. I'm meaning what the word is, moot. It doesn't matter. What matters is that young man who grew up wanting to be on the stage and probably want to revitalize the stage that has been dormant for about 20 years, now had a chance to do just that. And unfortunately, his body just gave out. You saw the Bills huddle around him. You saw the Bengals pray for him. Every man, and I don't mean just the players, coaching staff, medical professionals, the towel boy, the water boy, it didn't matter. You saw all of these individuals pray that this man, when he was getting administered CPR, that he would at least come out of it, at least wake up and show life. And unfortunately, he didn't before he had to be wheeled off the field in an ambulance. All of that doesn't mean a thing. All of the pageantry and all of the importance of football and the NFL, which there isn't a sport I love more than football, and there isn't an entity that I love more than NFL in terms of action. But the moment I saw Damar Hamlin hit the turf, I was done. I'm like, nah. Cancel that game, please. Postpone that game, please. Do whatever you have to do to stop this game, because I hope this young man can get up and go on. My partner mentioned Hank Gathers, and that was almost 33 years ago. I felt the same then as I do now. My thought is I want Mr. Hamlin to get up and experience life. And I want this to be one of those unfortunate circumstances that he persevered and survived. And he could tell the story of, yeah, I was a football player, or I am a football player if he does decide to resume his career. And I had a scare, and it taught me the value of life. And I hope it does the same thing with others. I hope it teaches them the value of life. And Mr. Bayless, I hope even in your 71 years of living on this earth, I hope it is teaching you the value of life. Because obviously, sir, you must not have it. Because for you, it's more popular for you to throw the hot take on the table. You know, like the one not too long ago where you insulted a Pro Football Hall of Famer in his face by saying that, what was it? That he must be jealous of a 45-year-old because you retired when you were 35. And then when he mentioned that he did 3 things that neither you nor I did, which is win a Super Bowl, you throw back at this man, quote, so what? Quote. Now, to me, in my humble opinion estimation, sir, if it is about so what, if it is only about that, then you're living a dangerous thing. You you are, as Dusty Rhodes used to say back in the day, you are performing risky business, baby. Life over football. Period. And you wanting to go out there and jump out there with hot takes, and you wanted to make Undisputed on FS1 be a shining beacon on the landscape of sports talk and sports news and sports entertainment. No. It's getting old, it's getting tired, it's getting ridiculous. And at you in the senior citizen age that you are, sir, you can hide behind I'm giving you get off my lawn old takes and this is how I feel and all of that. And you can try to coax it with this is just something that I'm meaning that I'm meaning that the moment of that young man being on the turf and I prayed for him, it trumps what I saw in the field. The fact you typed that all the other stuff came before just renders it moot for you. And it renders it moot for me. It is almost as if you basically said, you know, that young man who had blunt force trauma on the field, yeah, that was bad, but ... And I know you heard this when you were young. Whenever someone says something before the but and they say something after the but, normally it renders what you said before the but moot. That is what your tweet did. And because of that, sir, you, Mr. Skip Bayless, the Cowboys fan extraordinaire, the one who was and probably still is the biggest LeBron hater there is on the planet, the one who wanted to go toe-to-toe with T.O. so much over the course of time, it's now gotten ridiculous. The one who wanted to challenge Jalen Rose, and then when he came back at you, you shrank and shriveled up this small in the very own chair that you were sitting back at First Take. And the fact that you challenge a Pro Football Hall of Famer because he has the audacity to critique a future Hall of Famer because he's having a subpar year. You, my friend, you take the biggest, most gigantic, the most stupendous of all time. $71 going on 11. Grow up, man.
You want to add something to this, Mr. McCool?
Well, so y'all gonna make me go after that. Thank you, by the way.
On your mark.
But
get set. Let's cook.
This is what I'm gonna say. There's a couple of things I want people to understand. Number one, Skip Bayless did put out two tweets praying for, saying he was praying for the player before the idiotic tweet. And I just say that just so full picture, full disclosure.
Right.
Skip's an idiot for what he said. There was no need to say it, right? Definitely was looking for a hot take. Well, that backfired on you pretty bad, didn't it, buddy? You disrespected Shannon Sharpe a few weeks ago, as Cole alluded to. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when Shannon Sharpe took those glasses off and he got a little sweat beads on their forehead, Skip looked a little scared over there. So you got to watch how you talk to people who can whoop your hind parts whenever they want to. Because Shannon Sharpe could whoop your hind parts and go get another show on ESPN tomorrow. So let's not play that game. I think too, a lot of people reporting on this. A lot of people were, running around saying, "Oh, the NFL has to do the right thing." Like 5 minutes later, understand this is an entity. There's a lot of misinformation that was put out at the beginning. People were talking about he got CPR for like 9 minutes. According to, I didn't see it until later on, but according to what was put out by the organization. That's not what happened. So what we need to do is wait until we get actual information before we start running around trying to be the first to report on things like this, make a tweet, whatever. There's also a report, because you guys have covered most of the things from cooking on Skip. There's not a lot more to say about that. I mean, I agree with what y'all said. From the standpoint of the NFL, there was a story out that the NFL said, hey, you guys are going to start back up at 5 minutes, go warm up. So it came out that that's not what happened. The referees were saying that because based on the previous protocol in place, that's what would happen. The Players Association came out this morning and said that was never in the cards. The NFL never had any thoughts about restarting the game. They were just attempting to figure out what was happening before they concluded with, we're just going to suspend it tonight, or we're just going to cancel it based on if there was any negative update on Hamlin. So understand these things take a process. It's not something that Roger Goodell can just call and say, hey, the game's over. That's not how it works. He's not the CEO of his own small startup business. You know what I'm saying? He has to go through the proper procedures. He has to get information. He has to get correct information. Right? There were tweets and people saying that Hamlin was already dead when he got put in the ambulance. That was incorrect. Right? There were people said all sorts of things. And a lot of this you may not have seen. I have a lot of people that believe that they're sports reporters and they know, how to be a doctor, but they're not, and those type of things in my feed. So, I was going back and forth with someone about that. I was saying, look, man, I'm not pronouncing anything positive or negative about this man until we know. I'm going to pray for him. I hope that, he pulls through. But until we have concrete information, let's just stop it. Let's prepare for the worst. Let's pray for the best. But let's go on what we know. This is the first time something like this happened in the NFL. Right. So they didn't have a procedure in place for this. So they were going on the wing as they found out information. I think there was
preach that again, please.
Sure, I can repeat that. This is the first time, and I'll say it a little differently, but it's the same thought. This is the first time that something like this has happened in an NFL game. So they did not have any protocols in place. So they were going just off the seat of their pants, figuring out what to do. So yes, it takes some time. So people want to complain, oh, you left fans in the stadium for like an hour and not knowing anything. I can't tell you what I don't know. That's just me making up stories and being one of these over sensationalized people that just hears one thing and runs with it. We now know that he's in critical condition. Hamlin is in the hospital. His family's there with him. He does have the breathing tube, but he's in critical condition. But they did say that his vitals have stabilized, at least from the last reports that I saw from credible sources. Because if you're not credible, I just skip by you when I see you in threads. So we have to understand that, guys, relax. We all want everything to happen just like that. We live in a world where injury happens. We want the whole game stopped in 5 minutes. That's not how it works. Now, depending on, I think, on what happens with Hamlin will determine if the game gets replayed. But what I would really like is for people to step back and look at the totality of this picture. Skip used the worst word choice and the worst time to say something that's true, but it needed a spin on it. What he should have been saying is they got to figure out when can this game, if it can be rescheduled, or should it just be a tie, right? I think that's something that you have to go to the players of the Bills and the players of the Bengals and say, do you guys want to get together? Do you want to try to replay this game? And you have to do it like today or tomorrow. Like you can't stretch it out anymore because you have to get prepared for next week's games. You still have a week of games. The league's not on the bye next week. So you have to look at from that perspective as well. And that's why it took so long, because the NFL has to decide, all right, do we just suspend it tonight or do we just say both teams get a tie? Which way do we think we can go? If we think we can still play this game tomorrow or maybe Wednesday early or something like that, then yeah, let's suspend the game. But do we say we're just going to cancel the game and we're just going to give both teams a tie and move on, or Bills going to forfeit? What are we going to do? What would be fair in this situation to the Buffalo Bills and to the Cincinnati Bengals, right? So the NFL, to me, is handling this better than they've handled a lot of other situations. They took the time to find out as much information as they could. They made a decision based on that information. And now we have to figure out what's moving forward. If that's going to be replaying a game, if that's going to be both teams getting a tie, if it's going to be the Bills saying, we'll take the L, whatever. We have to figure that out. And shout out to both of those coaches for getting together and saying, hey, look, man, I don't know what's going on, but we're not taking our guys back on that field. So you hasten the NFL to be able to make a decision because you basically said we're not going to play. But I think it was the referees, and this is by the procedures they have in place. Again, I want people to understand. Like we were saying about it's not his fault. It's not the referee's fault that they're following the procedures that they've been given.
Right.
That's their job. But in this situation, sometimes common sense is not common. So I don't think they realize the severity of the situation and how it should have been handled differently. They're just going by what they were taught. So what I want people to learn from the situation, from my perspective, take the time to figure out what's happening. Don't just throw things out in these type of situations until we know for sure. Because there were people saying that this guy was, was deceased, that he had already passed away. That's not something you want to be saying about somebody unless you have 100% proof, because that is inaccurate information. And anyone who said that or anyone who alluded to that, you should be ashamed of yourself for being in media or wanting to be part of the media, because that is garbage takes.
And they can be sued for that.
Facts are facts. Make sure you're checking your facts before you're saying those things.
Journalistic integrity.
And you said you couldn't follow that. Look at you, man.
I mean, all of us.
Y'all made it hot.
There isn't a syllable you uttered that I could disagree with.
None here
job,
either.
Cole.
None here either.
Journalistic
integrity.
So bit of truth
has been called into question.
A hard stoppage and then restarting within a certain amount of time is not considered a death. My mother's a nurse, so let's get that straight.
It's considered cardiac arrest, though, right?
It was cardiac arrest, but
it was.
It's not,
that's what I thought. Yeah. But it's not a death, right? It's not a death, right?
Right.
Check this out, guys.
I've been in too many damn hospitals. Man, take that down. I've read it already. He was the only. I've been in too many hospitals. I've seen people with cardiac arrest. Hell, I nearly suffered cardiac arrest when I was heavier than this. Been there, done that. It's nothing to play with. It's absolutely nothing to play with.
No.
Bit of truth. I'm gonna say this to you, bro.
And I learned the same
bit of truth. If you want to argue whether it's a death or not, bro, do your thing. I'm not engaging with that anymore. There's a man's life at stake. If the fact that you start this, like you're trying to do, you're no better than Skip. So I'm gonna just say you got it, because I'm not doing that with you. I'm trying to find out what's happening with this individual, and hopefully he's healthy.
We all
like Cole said, hopefully he's able to live a a full life. That's what I'm more concerned about than your technicality.
Same.
Cardiac arrest is a different event.
We are praying that he pulls through this.
Yeah.
Any reports that we get on any of our shows or during any of our shows, we will break in and give you those updates. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Listen, I put in the chat DeMar's charity as well as our Patreon. Please support both. Let's continue to get DeMar through this.
Yeah.
Let's have our donations and our prayers pull him through so he can have a wonderful life. And DeMar and his family, we are praying hard for your recovery. We're out of here. See you tomorrow. Push the button.